Hello, good morning everyone. So it's 4 weeks and 5 days since I started my hypothalamic amenorrhea recovery journey. Always a mouthful, so we'll nickname it HA. Tired this morning. I woke up, I've gone to do yoga. I've already walked Marley. I got some results back yesterday from a cortisol saliva test, which was intriguing. So I'll read you what they say actually. Let me just get them up. So I took a cortisol test, saliva test, on Friday. I did my normal yoga, walking, so half of what I would normally do. That's the key part to this. Yet my cortisol on waking, so within, I think it's half an hour after you wake that you take your reading, it should be between 6 and 21, and mine was 21.5. So it's highlighted. I don't know if you can see that in red. The second was at midday. Now, I'd already gone out, I'd done yoga, which is meant to be a more gentle practice, although Friday's one is quite strong. So I took this when I got home before I had any lunch, which is what you're meant to do. It should be between 1.5 and 7.6. Mine was 14.9, almost double what it should be at that time of day, which is obviously my body's reaction to exercise. Or it's not a significant drop, because my 4 o'clock and my bedtime ones were right in where they should be. Between 0 and 5.5 for the 4 o'clock range, mine was 2.57. And for bedtime, it should be anything between 0 and 2, and mine was 1.71. So actually, the latter of the day, the cortisol readings come down. Now, I'm not any medical professional and I don't really know what those mean, but I do know that they shouldn't be highlighted in red. So even though I have significantly reduced my exercise, my body must still feel, or my brain obviously still feels, that it is in stressed mode. So it may be well time to evaluate things. What I'm going to do, I'm on my 5th day of the Clomid pill, by the way, and I've got some interesting facts about this. So for anybody that is in their HA recovery but maybe hasn't had their period back, yet you've made them lifestyle changes, you've already gained the necessary weight, your BMI is normal, your body fat percentage is in a good healthy range, so nothing underneath 20% really. Your exercise habits are much nicer. You're fueling your workouts, you're doing 2 or 3 exercise a week, you're doing your walking, you're doing your yoga, whatever. Even if you're not doing those 2-3 sessions of exercise a week, but you're just doing walking and yoga and you're taking enough rest days, etc., but yet you still find you're not having a period, what I have been researching is how Clomid can affect you. Now, every single doctor, I've been reading up on this, and a lot of forums are suggesting that doctors will prescribe Clomid. But before they prescribe Clomid, for those of us that do not ovulate, do not have a period, then they will try and provoke that period by giving you a progesterone, so Provera, for example. And what that will do is it will build up the lining in your uterus, if there's enough estrogen. And if you bleed on the Provera challenge, then you would have had enough estrogen in your body, and there's maybe something underneath this is just not happening, i.e. whatever happens, some people are just very unlucky in the fact their hypothalamus doesn't ever recover. It doesn't tell the pituitary gland to start performing and, release that FSH, which will build up that follicle, which in turn will then build up the LH, will rise, and it will spike to pretty much shed that lining of that follicle so that you ovulate. And as soon as you ovulate, obviously your progesterone rises, your estrogen, etc., etc. So you don't need to have a period before starting Clomid. Now, I'm not a medical practitioner here. So for somebody listening to this, I'm just telling you what I'm doing. So I've been reading up on a lot of fertility specialists and looking at different scientific novels and tests that have been done on women with no period. A lot of these women have polycystic ovaries. They've got no period for 2 years because of their polycystic ovaries. Some of them only ovulate once or twice a year. So they're very different to people with hypothalamic amenorrhea, and their blood work will be different, etc. But same thing happens. We're both still not ovulating. So the point is, in this forum, a load of these women have said, well, I'm not having a period. I've taken Provera. I haven't bled. What do I do now? So this random woman has suggested on there about taking Clomid without a period, because her fertility specialist said to her, don't take Provera before your Clomid challenge or Clomid course. Don't take it, just go straight into taking the Clomid. Count your first pill of Clomid as cycle day 3 and count from there on. So that's what she did, and she ovulated first time. She also fell pregnant. I'm not doing this to fall pregnant. I just want my period back. Maybe once I get my period back and I've comfortably had a couple of cycles, please, then maybe we'll start thinking about the baby land. But here's the thing. What struck me with one of the women who had also tried this method was that the first 5 times she did Clomid, and the first 5 cycles of Clomid might just be one of those things, but every time she did her first 5 cycles, she induced a period somehow, most likely by taking the Provera challenge. So she didn't ovulate on any of them. However, on the 6th go, she didn't use Provera to initiate a period, so to get the day where you can start Clomid, and she ovulated, and she fell pregnant with twins. And it kind of inspired me, because obviously I didn't do the Provera challenge before I started Clomid. I had some horrible side effects with Provera last time. I felt like Santa Claus delivering everybody their presents. My belly was out here. My feet were huge, my legs were huge, my face was puffy, everything was just going absolutely diabolical. I hated it. I was a moody what's-it. And you know what? I can't even remember whether or not I had a bleed or not. All I remember significantly was them drastic, horrible side effects. So for me, Provera was a no-go. I've got it upstairs. I could have easily taken it, but I know how bad I was on it last time. And I've got to say, other than day 1 on this Clomid, with a bit of a headache, which could have been anything, I have felt fine. I got a little bit low last night on thinking about my weight. And I'm well in my right to think that, because it is dramatic change. I've gone from doing all this exercise and being the fit girl. I was in that gym on Monday, and I almost didn't recognise my reflection. My face was bigger, my arms around here was bigger. I just felt chunky, and it's such everybody around you says, I think you look lovely, and I think you look fit, and I think you look this and that. But it comes from within, and it comes from how you feel about yourself. I'm not going to make this a huge long video, but there was another podcast that I listened to today on weight set point and how that can dramatically change when you're dieting. And for somebody who's always been somebody that would cut calories, if I felt a bit big that week, or if I was going out that weekend, if I just reduce 100, 200 calories, maybe even more. If I just reduce that for, 7 days and do a dramatic diet, I'll lose a couple of pounds for the weekend, and I'll feel absolutely great going out Saturday night, and then I can eat what I want on Sunday. But of course, by the time Sunday comes, I restricted myself so much Monday to Saturday. I've gone out, had a night of binge drinking, didn't eat, woke up Sunday absolutely famished and eating everything in sight, felt absolutely hideous, horrible, cheat day from hell, felt guilty, sometimes made myself sick at the end of it. Yeah, that dramatic. And yet, for what? So that come Monday, I've got the alcohol blues. I'm an absolute miserable cow. Was it worth it? No. And then depressed, because when's the next time I'm going to allow myself to have a donut? When's the next time I'm going to have a bit of ice cream or chocolate or even a bag of nuts? Because the restriction got too much, and I was constantly thinking, well, this is just extra calories. I don't need these extra calories. Now, All I think about now is eating well to fuel my body, getting the right fats, getting the right protein, getting the right carbs, and if I'm hungry, eat. I'm actually fearful at the moment of not letting myself get hungry, so I tend to, even if it's say 10:30 in the morning and I've only had my breakfast, I'm already thinking, oh geez, like I don't want to feel hungry, and I try and take my mind off it, but then I realise, well, actually you need a snack, so get up, go and have something. You know, it might only be a bag of nuts, a small snack pack, or a couple of crackers with some jam, or a bit of yogurt or something, but I'll eat it. And the good thing is, after listening to this podcast, it does start to change your mentality, because the guy was saying about weight set point, but he was also saying about diet. So your weight set point has a range of about 10-15 pounds. It will be at the bottom, and then there's the top, and you can either sit in the middle or between them ranges. But if you go below that range, then your body starts to slow your metabolism down, stop reproduction, tell your hypothalamus to, not control your body temperature, not fuel your hair, your nails, etc., and you're anorexic, and you begin to go lower and lower and lower until a dramatic stage where you're either going to die or you're going to recover. Dramatic as that sounds, sorry guys, for anybody who's going through this. And the same point goes for the higher end. So because in today's society we've got a lot more of processed foods, we've got a lot more temptation foods that make us expand that boundary of weight set point. So your body will only get to a certain weight where it's like, this is too much for me, and even though you may continue to eat, it will find a happy medium and almost not let you go above that unless you push it to the max and think, well, I'm just going to eat anyway. Some people never get past that. Some people will just be able to eat and eat and eat and eat and eat, and in their genes, their genetics, the way that they are in life, their basal metabolic rate, their everything, their neat, it will just keep them at that higher end. And no matter what they eat, they won't be able to go beyond that. I'm not that lucky, I know that much. I can't eat what I want at that higher end. I will just continuously get higher. Because I know my genes that way. I come from a big family. All my family are overweight, and I was overweight severely when I was younger. The interesting thing in this weight set point was the dieting. So every time you diet and you lose weight, every time you have enough of that diet and you think, well, actually, maybe I'm not eating enough, you lose a lot of weight, and then you start to increase your calories. Your body's like, oh yes, I need this, I need the fat, I need everything. And it will grab onto that, it will grab onto the fat, and then your lean tissue doesn't get a chance to recover. Your fat does quite quickly, but your lean tissue doesn't quite go back up again before you're like, oh my God, I'm putting on fat. And you can see it, you can see the fat instantly, like I can see fat around my hips, my tummy, which I never had there before. Go back 6 weeks ago, I didn't have that. So the fat your brain begins to think, oh no, oh shit, I've got to eat, I've got to restrict my calories again. And before that lean tissue has had a chance to recover, you start dramatically dieting again, which is going to lower both. And then your weight set point increases. So your lower end has gone from here to say here, because you've not let your lean tissue recover. So then you diet again. And then you lose a load of weight, you're miserable, you're unhappy, you're at your low end again, but you're not as low as what you were, because your body doesn't want to let you do that. Your body's at this stage, and you think, right, well, perhaps I should eat a bit more, perhaps that will make me lose more weight. So you eat a little bit more, you gain that fat again you panic, because it's only been a few weeks of eating a bit more, the lean tissue doesn't get to recover, so again, you're feeling fat, you're feeling bloated, you've got more around your midriff, and you're thinking, shit, right, go back again. We're going straight back to what worked for me the first time, running a load and not eating a lot. Your weight set point is now here instead of here. So then move this up a little bit further as it keeps going on and on and on and on and on. When will it stop? Because most people that find themselves with hypothalamic amenorrhea, where their reproductive system has shut down, their hypothalamus is not speaking to their body because the brain is being selfish. Your brain has said, no way, I'll give your body a little bit of what it needs, but I need the rest. And it's telling you constantly, you can't lose weight, I'm scared to lose weight. So now you're in a situation where What can you do? The only way to get out of this is to just eat. I'm not talking about going and grabbing a McDonald's for breakfast, lunch and dinner, or even eating out of your clean eating, orthorexic brain that will not stress you out too much. I don't mean, restrict food groups. Eat your fats, eat your carbs, eat your protein. But if you want to do them fats in a big salad with salmon, avocado, nuts, seeds, and all the goodness, rather than sit there and eat a burger and fries, or a burger and chips, because we're in the UK, Emma, then I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't eat the burger and chips, not because I don't want it, but because actually I've lived my life eating really healthy, wholesome foods and I enjoy them. And I don't want the stress of after eating that burger and chips to then punish myself anymore. So if it means it's going to make you recover faster by keeping it as clean as what your brain can handle, do that. But just allow yourself that 20% every week just to fall out of that. Whether it be grabbing a couple of chocolate lint balls or, having a hot chocolate when you go to Starbucks instead of your skinny latte. Just have it. Have what you want in that moderation, and you'll likely quickly understand and enjoy your food. Your brain will start to recover. Your brain will start to think, well, hey, it's been a good few weeks now. She's not stopped and panicked. So your lean tissue will start to recover. You will only gain weight to a set point, and your body will be like, right, I'm happy. Let's get everything back in motion. And eventually what will happen is this whole process, you might end up back to where you were when you started before you got hypothalamic amenorrhea. If you were 10 stone when you first ever had periods, and now all of a sudden you went down to 7 stone, you're back up to 11 stone, and your body's like, I'm still not having a period, no way. You might find that you might have to gain a little bit more, maybe even go up to 12 stone, but then your body will slowly take that down again. And once you're out of this, and once you've had a few cycles, you can start to get back to exercising more. Just when you're doing that, don't ever stop eating what you're eating. I will never stop eating the amount of calories that I'm eating at the moment. I will eat when I'm hungry, and I'm hungry quite a lot, so I'm just going to eat. And I eat good foods. I eat foods that are not going to stress my brain out, because that makes me happy. And no one can tell you anything different. Doing a bit of exercise, again, is still going to be better than doing none at all if it's stressing you out massively. Because the stress is what's going to cause your hypothalamus to not recover. So again, it might be an idea for those of you. I just got one online for, sort of saliva test. It was done in the post, really quick, really easy. Took 4 samples throughout the day. Really impressed actually with them, and could recommend it. So if you're intrigued about what your cortisol levels might be, and your bloods in your doctors are showing up normal, which mine did, we'll just maybe go for the saliva test and see how it's performing throughout the day, and then you'll get a better idea. But if you are stressed, I've just started this meditation on this Headspace app. So I've been doing that 5 minutes every night to try and kind of relax the body. I'm not one for meditating at all, so this has been quite a challenge for me. But give it a go. You never know until you've tried it. And that's all for today, guys. So I will see you tomorrow.
I once felt I'm done with the defense. Drove back and climbed over your fence. Had to show you that I was a man.